going on, guys, and welcome to today's video. And yeah, I'm in the truck and I have an empty trailer behind the truck, and so again, I don't know if you guys will see this video, because if I get there and the vehicle is a rusty pile of garbage, then I won't be buying it and I won't be bringing it home. But a buddy of mine, or I don't even know if I want to call him a buddy if he's sending me links to broken Grand Cherokees, but that's what happened. It looks like kind of a clean WJ. Of course, story of all of our lives here is a 4.7 V8 that has overheated and probably needs head gaskets or heads machined, very similar to Hi-Ho Silver, that silver Jeep. So again, I am en route driving out to this thing. I'm gonna look at it. Probably won't film on the guys in front of his house, but if I buy the thing and we get it on the trailer, then obviously I will pull the camera back out and we will see what quality piece of machinery we have gotten ourselves into again. But it is a different color that I've never had before, so I've got to collect all the colors. So yeah, guys, I will hopefully be joining back up with you guys here shortly, and we will be looking at something on the trailer, so we'll see. Yeah, I ended up buying the dumb thing. Yeah, so I don't know. Again, guys, I have no clue how much content I'm going to be making on all of these WJs. It is very repetitive, I totally understand, but I had to save another one. We had to rescue one. This one's kind of cool. It is a 2001 Laredo with 143,000 miles, but it does have the V8, and that's why it's broken, because any of them with the 4.7 liter are always broken because of the engine. It's the Jeep way of life. This one is black though, which is kind of rare. I don't know that I see too many WJs that are ever black. So a little bit rare maybe, or at least rare in this area. What am I gonna do with it? We gotta get the thing running. It's kind of odd. It sounds like it has a really bad misfire. Now the guy said it's overheating. That was the extent of the description. Got there, fired it up, and it sounds like it has a dead miss. So we probably have a valve seat dropped or a rocker kicked out, or something has happened in the valve train of this engine. Is it totally dead? No. Can we bring it back? Maybe. We'll just have to tear into it and see what we find. So I guess I'll, at least bring you guys into the garage and we will kind of start diagnosis on this, maybe compression check. We need to track down which cylinder even has the issue, and then we can pull a valve cover off and we can see, what's going on. Do we have no compression? Do we have compression because the valve is closed and we have a rocker kicked off? Who knows until we get in there. But let's do a quick walk around on this thing and see what our donor vehicle or our candidate is here before we start tearing into this engine. So like I said, 01 Laredo, but it's kind of a high trim level Laredo. The door is locked, which is a benefit. And I've got too many keys in my pocket here. Okay. So, kind of a high trim Laredo. We've got power seats on driver and passenger. We do have the Infinity Gold sound. It is cloth though, but it does have a sunroof, which is kind of weird. But the cool thing is, this thing is like super clean inside. I'm not gonna be gutting the interior like I've had to on the last 2 or 3 of these things. It's honestly in a really nice shape. The headliner's nice, the seats are nice, the carpet's nice. Man, it's really refreshing seeing one that's taken care of, but just happened to have a engine issue. But again, it's not all dented up, it's not destroyed. This one does not have the WJ lift gate dent that like every single one of them has. So it's pampered when it doesn't even have the lift gate dents. But yeah, just a clean Laredo. The wheels are absolutely ruined like they all are. It's all pitted up, all peeling. Every single one of them does that. They are just tired at this point. Headlights need buffed. Again, we've done that before. But other than that, it's a little bit more crusty underneath than I would like. No big, huge rust holes or anything, but it's just a little bit crustier than I would like. I'm sure some of you Rust Belt State guys are slapping the screen right now going, what are you talking about? That is clean compared to what we've got here. But again, I really like trying to find the really nice clean ones. And this one just had a really clean interior, clean body. So we'll see what we can do on the undercarriage here. So I'm gonna get this thing unloaded. I don't know if I'm tearing into it tonight or not, but I'll get this thing in the garage and we will start tearing it apart and seeing what our issue is. Hopefully we can fix it without putting a motor in it, or maybe without even putting a head in it. If we've just got a rocker issue, a lifter issue, let's cross our fingers, please, guys. I do not want to rebuild another one of these things. All right, guys, now it is a few days later after purchasing the Jeep, and I've worked a little bit on it one night here in the garage. I didn't film anything because we've already torn a 4.7 liter V8 apart on the channel, so I didn't want to just have extremely, you know, kind of similar content here, but I wanted to at least show you guys what I've found so far and kind of what I did to diagnose this. Now, I was saying that I was going to do a compression check. We were going to see if we had any low cylinders, but I didn't even get that far because with the Jeep running, we had bubbles in the radiator cap here. It was, you know, just slowly you could see bubble, bubble, bubble with the vehicle running. Now, it wasn't running well. It was definitely misfiring, but like I said, we had bubbles in the radiator, in the coolant, with it just sitting here idling. Now, what does that mean? That means we've got head gaskets, you know, blown. We've got heads probably warped from an overheat, and that is compression chamber pressure basically pushing its way past the head gaskets and, you know, pushing itself into the cooling system. So at that point, there wasn't really any reason for me to do a compression check. I knew both cylinder heads have to come off. They need to get checked. They need to get machined for, you know, so they are nice and true again, not warped. New gaskets, the whole 9 yards. Now, it running poorly, what was causing that? And I also found that if you guys can hopefully maybe see down here, we've got 2 rocker arms kicked off. It's a little bit dark, but I've got a rocker arm that is supposed to be sitting under this camshaft lobe, laying down here in the head. And then back here, we've got another rocker that has been kicked off, laying down here in the head. Now, like I said, that was causing the misfire. So we kind of have 2 different issues going on here. What caused the rocker arms to kick off? Typically in the past, I always assumed that meant a valve seat. The metal or steel seat that's pressed into the aluminum head dropped, typically due to an overheat, caused the valve to hang open and the rocker get kicked off. What I've kind of found more as I have, you know, done more research and worked on more of these is that is not always the case. There is a lot of lifter failures where the lifter isn't fully pumped up. There's a kind of a little spring mechanism and the lifter itself is squishy until it gets oil pressure. This one, both of those, you can take those lifters and squish them or move them, which only means that they are not pumped up or staying as solid as they should be, at least on initial startup. And I think that's a lot of the times why 3.7s and 4.7s kick rocker arms. Again, just my speculation, but that's kind of what I'm finding. So hopefully I will just need to pull the cylinder heads off. Like I said, send them out, have them machined, and new gaskets. We'll put new lifters and we'll get this thing back together and it should be happy again. What caused the overheat? You know, I don't have any blatant coolant leaks right now. It was full of coolant when I got it. The water pump, though, is shiny and new, or newer at least. So that new water pump kind of makes me think that this thing previously obviously had a water pump go bad, leak, whatever, fail in some fashion, probably leak coolant out, it probably got hot, and, you know, the water pump was replaced, it got filled with coolant, and it was probably honestly fine for a while. But the fact 4.7s and 3.7s are not tolerant at all about being overheated, so it probably got the heads warm, probably warped, and that's where we're at today. So again, the only other bad thing that could happen, once I get the cylinder heads off, we could actually have a valve seat. If it has fallen, it doesn't really look like it, but again, I will bring you guys, or I will show you guys once I get the cylinder heads off, and we'll kind of confirm that we think we do have good cylinder heads, other than the fact they need to be machined down. So again, I'm not really going to time lapse this. It's just going to be me taking another engine apart, but I will, again, show you guys what I find here once I get the heads off, and hopefully get this thing back on the road and moving, and of course I'll lift it and do all of that. So I'm gonna keep working, and then yeah, we'll see what we find. Okay guys, so I've worked a little bit longer here on the 4.7, and I've got the cylinder heads pulled off, and I'll show you what I found, or not found, I guess. And I didn't find anything horribly bad. We had no valve seats dropped, which is a good thing. Again, this one was just pushing compression into the cooling system, so we've got warped heads and or bad head gaskets. So we can see the very lovely short block here. Everything looks, you know, pretty normal for 140,000 miles, nothing out of the ordinary. Over on this side, they are very similar, except for our very back cylinder. It's kind of hard to tell. Well, you can see how kind of dark carboned up this piston here is, and then if we go back, that piston is almost completely shiny and clean. Now, a clean piston top indicates that was a cylinder that was burning coolant, either burning coolant or leaking coolant into it. This one, with it running, obviously was pushing pressure into the cooling system, but I would assume when you turned it off, there would be coolant that would seep back into the cylinder. That's what is normally always indicated with a shiny, clean piston top. So we definitely need to do head gaskets, but since this was supposedly overheated, these aluminum heads on these 4.7s and 3.7s are not tolerable for, you know, any overheat. They are typically warped at least slightly. So it's going to get the heads sent out to the machine shop. Here we can see the heads laying on the ground, and again, this was the I guess bad or affected side. And if we take a look underneath, we've got all of our valve seats still in place. Everything looks nice and how it should. We can even see all of the tops of the combustion chamber, you know, equally dirty, and then we've got a nice and clean one here where we were leaking coolant, burning coolant, whatever you want to call it. Now on the other head, I didn't really see any signs of anything, but the fact that we're already in this motor and I want to kind of do it correctly, we're going to send both heads out, have both heads milled, have you know, new gaskets, and do it correctly. So again, this thing will get a fresh set of lifters, new valve stem seals, because if you guys know or don't know, these things do burn oil. Once they're over 100,000 miles, the valve stem seals are pretty much always gone, no matter how well they've been taken care of or not. So valve stem seals, lifters, head gaskets, mill the heads down. We'll get 20 thousandths over thickness head gaskets to compensate for our milled heads. Get the thing back together and it should be absolutely perfect. Now, what is the rest of the Jeep? You know, what's the transmission, what's the rear end like? I have no idea. I've not gotten to drive this thing. That's always kind of the, you know, gamble buying a vehicle you can't go out and drive, because like we found out with that silver, you know, 04 Overland, we got the engine back together, fired it up, and the transmission was blown up. Now this Jeep, I was told by the owner that, oh yeah, it drove fine, you know, and again, this did drive on the trailer. So I'm assuming we're gonna be all right. Now, yes, we need to do all the maintenance and everything like we normally do on these things, but yeah, we'll at least hopefully save kind of a good one and get it back out on the road. So guys, I've got to get parts off to the machine shop, get those worked on, and yeah, then we'll hopefully get it back together and hit the key together. I always absolutely hate that part of any engine build, any motor after you've had it apart. I hate hitting the key for the first time, but I'll bring you guys along, and we'll hopefully make a 4.7 make some noise again. So guys, thanks for coming out into the garage here and tearing apart another 4.7 liter overheated Jeep WJ V8. And so until next time, we'll hit the key, fire it up together, and hopefully make some noise. So guys, thanks as always for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.